Yo, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, open that mouth. Sure that she's talking and open that mouth. If it say something, we rubbing it out. And then it's something it out. And then it's got and it's part of this nothing.
And now from an undisclosed location, you are now tuned in to the Xander Effect with host Xander Dames.
That was strike play. Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
You heard it here, folks. The Dodgers take it in 2020. Welcome to the Xander Effect. I'm your host, Xander Dames. Alongside with me are my wonderful co-hosts, Jeremy Miller and Lonnie Rivera. How are both of you doing today?
Great.
Doing great. Good to be on. Good to talk to you, Lonnie.
Yeah, great to be here, guys.
Man, I am so freaking stoked, dude. I mean, last night, the Dodgers became World Series champs after 32 years of battling and getting screwed over as well by cheaters, Houston. And yeah, I mean, it was so amazing to see that. Los Angeles, like I posted on my social media, is not just known for being the city of angels. We are now the city of champions, having dual championships in the NBA and now MLB. We'll talk a little bit about that in sports later today. I mean, like I said, last night Los Angeles was lit, like the kids say. It was totally lit. I mean, you had people on the streets, just like parading, because obviously we can't have a parade for them because of COVID. So Los Angelinos decided to take to the streets and, shoot off firecrackers and do what Los Angelinos do and just celebrate the hell out of the Dodgers victory, man. I mean, Jeremy, did I see you out there? I thought I could have sworn I saw you out there.
I'm sure you saw me out there at some point, man. My whole neighborhood was going crazy. I mean, as soon as the game was over, I mean, you heard everybody for blocks yelling, screaming, cheering. It was pretty awesome. Now, yes, Angelinos are known for celebrating, but dear Lord, man, we're in a high winds situation with multiple fires everywhere. Please, people, stop setting off fucking fireworks.
Right? I mean, it's not exactly the smartest thing in the world to go ahead and do that at this point in time.
Oh, dear Lord, seriously. I mean, the entire West Coast is on fire, but let's set off fireworks in high winds. What a spectacular idea.
No, right? I mean, that's just brilliant. I mean, no one could ever actually, blame Los Angeles for being the most smartest of, people in the world. But that's, that goes without saying. I mean, Lonnie, at least she's safe. She's out in Pittsburgh and just, I mean, she doesn't have any championships to celebrate of, but
brutal.
We got a pretty famous football team out here that's got, pretty good record. So, I'm really happy for the Dodgers.
So far for right now, the Steelers are undefeated. Let's face it. I mean, when was the last time your city had dual championships?
Actually,
wait for the crickets. Going back, I think there were dual
championships. It's been a while. There was a time when, my childhood, when the Pirates, the Steelers, and the Penguins, but actually most recently the Penguins, our hockey team, and the Steelers have the Steelers were in the playoffs when the Penguins took the Stanley.
That's what I was going to say. And I thought around the time of the last Steelers championships, the Penguins were in the playoffs. So I don't remember if they won that same year or not. But I know that, you guys were at the pinnacle there for a while with both of those.
But
we're actually used to being the city of champions. So you guys...
Well, hold on. Jeremy, you just said the key word. Pinnacle, not actual. So, I mean, we are actual, but like I said, we're not going to go ahead and quibble over.
You're in a cocky mood today,
dude. I deserve to be. Okay, 32 years? Are you freaking kidding me? Get out of the last freaking couple of the World Series with Houston? Come on. I think we all have a right to be a little bit cocky today, especially, you know, I mean,
It's been a long time coming. It truly has. I mean, going back to 88, as I've told you before, I mean, everybody's got their story. I have multiple friends who were in the cars that we see in that classic picture. They had already given up, as Angelinos do, and were driving away from the stadium. I have at least a handful of friends who are in the picture, in their cars, driving away as Gibson hits that home run. I was supposed to be at the game. My dad's coworker, unfortunately, didn't get us the tickets he was giving us before the game in time, but I was supposed to be there with my dad. You know, this was a memory that all of us Angelinos have, that we have all been, you know, it's been a woven part of our history. And you know what? It was great. It was wonderful. But as all the other players said, we needed to make new memories. We needed to do something for Dodger fans now. And for anybody who bleeds blue, man, oh, this was just such a relief last night. It was such a relief to see Kershaw and all these great players finally get some vindication.
And unfortunately, it was bittersweet too, because there's other news that we're going to talk about in sports involving Justin Turner. But we'll go ahead and bring that up. We do have, like I said, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, including in entertainment news. Khloe Kardashian reveals that she had COVID, and she says, "quote that S is real." So we'll talk a little bit about that. Also obviously in sports, we're going to talk about Justin Turner, and in video game news, looks like there's going to be the Hitman 3 is entering Nintendo Switch as a cloud game. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, we're also talking video game news. Jeremy has a story that really pissed me off, and has a lot of other gamers that are pissed off, you know, but you're gonna have to stay tuned for that one. But first, appropriately for today's wonderful celebration, here is Justin Timberlake's "What Goes Around Comes Around" right here on the Xander Effect.
I was wrong. Don't wanna think about it, don't wanna talk about it. I'm just so sick about it. Can't believe it's ending this way. Just so confused about it, feeling the blues about it. I just can't do without you. Tell me, is this fair? Is this the way it's really going down? Is this how we say goodbye? Should've known better when you came around, that you were gonna make me cry. That you're living a lie, but that's okay, baby, 'cause in time you will find what goes around, goes around, goes around, comes way back around. What goes around, goes around, goes around, comes way back around. What goes around, goes around, goes around, comes way back around. What goes around, goes around, goes around, comes way back around. That you claimed. You said that you were moving on now. Maybe I should do the same. The funny thing about that is I was ready to give you my name. Thought it was me and you, baby. And now it's all just a shame, and I guess I was wrong. Don't wanna think about it, don't wanna talk about it. I'm just so sick about it. Can't believe it's ending this way. Just so confused about it, feeling the blues about it. I just can't do it. Can you tell me, is this fair? Is this the way it's really going down? Is this how we say goodbye? Should've known better when you came. Should've known better that you were going. can't do without you. Tell me, is this fair? Is this the way it's really going down? Is this how we say goodbye? Oh, should've known better when it came on. Should've known better that you were gonna make me cry. It's breaking my heart to now it's breaking my heart that you're living a lie. But that's okay, baby, 'cause in time you will find what goes around, goes around, goes around, goes around, baby. Goes around, goes around, baby. Goes around, goes around, goes around, baby. Goes around, goes around, baby. Goes around, goes around, baby. Goes around, goes
Yo, let me paint this picture for you, baby. Yo.
You spend your nights alone, and he never comes home. And every time you call him, all you get's a busy tone. I heard you found out that he's doing to you what you did to me. Ain't that the way it goes? When you cheat a girl, my heart beat a girl. So it goes without saying that you left me feeling hurt. Just a classic case scenario. Tale as old as time, girl, you got what you deserve. And now you want somebody to cure the lonely nights. You wish you had somebody that could come and make it right. But girl, I ain't somebody with a lot of sympathy. You see,
what goes around comes back around.
I thought I told you, hey.
What goes around comes back around.
I thought I told you, hey.
What goes around comes back around.
I thought I told you, hey.
What goes around comes back around.
I thought I told you, hey.
Take it to a baby.
See? Should listen to me, baby. Because
Goes around comes back around.
Yo, what up? This is AB.
Hey guys, this is Sean Kanan.
What's going on? It's Amanda Holly.
Hey, Jeremy Miller from Growing Pains here.
This is Maxim Waddle Riley Sawyer. And you're listening. To the Xander Effect.
Then I'm fucking these bitches. First I'm burning on my bridges, then I'm fucking these bitches. I'll make you proud. Slap the hoes that turn me down. I did not come back this time to fuck around. Talking all that shit, I know. You're never gonna make it, kid. Let it go. Think what could have been. Think what could have been. When all the pain hits home, I'll make it on my own and shut you out again. Shut you out again. Play dumb, now me too. Think I forgot, well I didn't. Fuck you. Here's a mic dick. What you won't say, what you won't do. Sick of paying dues cause they only lead to you. You and me saying, you and me saying, turn your mind.
That was Dirty Machines, BBFG, right here on the Xander Effect. In entertainment news, looks like Khloe Kardashian has revealed that she had COVID, and apparently they're going to be showing bits and pieces of it on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Some scenes, where Khloe's really sick, and there's a trailer that basically includes Khloe's diagnosis. Basically, she went through hell, according to what she says. I mean, she was quarantined in her room because she had, she says, quote, the symptoms were, quote, really bad for a couple of days. She had vomiting, shaking, hot and cold flashes. She got terrible headaches, her chest burned from all the coughing. I mean, she was put through the ringer, and Kim was pretty much also confessed as well that Kanye got COVID as well, right around the time that Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson announced their diagnosis as well, and she had to go ahead and wash Kanye's sheets and everything, and she had to wear rubber gloves and a face shield and everything. So yeah, I mean, the Kardashians were hit with COVID, but irony of ironies is right now she's also Kim Kardashian's also getting a little bit of flack from social media because she celebrated her 40th birthday on a private island, and she said it was a private celebration with close friends and families who pretty much had been cleared medically to partake in the celebration, but she was still getting a lot of flack from social media. A lot of people were posting different types of artistic memes, basically making fun of the whole celebration and everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, a lot of people were saying, it must be nice that you're able to celebrate your birthday when the rest of the world can't, when there's so many people that turned 40 this year and they can't celebrate it. So it must be nice. So I don't know. In my opinion, I think that's a little bit of haterade from a lot of people that, are just angry that they can't celebrate their birthdays the way, because, obviously they don't have the money to afford a private island or anything like that. But at the same time, I also have to look at it from this perspective that it's also a little irresponsible, seeing as we are in a pandemic. There was definitely no social distancing in that party, according to what was described in various news sources. They were going whale watching or something like that, horseback riding. They were doing a lot of activities together. They watched a movie on the beach. I mean, they did a lot of activities that I would imagine does not have social distancing in it. So there's a lot of flack coming from going towards Kim, especially after what Khloe confessed. I mean, that's pretty crazy, Lonnie. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the timing of all this is interesting. It's just me. I think of ratings and the show, since they announced that 2021 will be their last season. Khloe had COVID, and now all of a sudden they're coming out with the fact that she had it, and they didn't say she had it back then. Sounds to me they're trying to get people pumped up to watch the show, and they know that people are going to tune in to see what exactly Khloe went through. That's what my thoughts are as far as COVID goes. And then as far as Kim's birthday, the fact that she decided to spend the money that she has on this is her business. But when you have that many fans and people being influenced by you, who you cater to on social media, I do think it's just kind of interesting that, you're posting the photos of herself with her, wearing her swimsuit, telling people this is 40, which is a whole other issue. But yet, a lot of people on Twitter and on Instagram have made comments like, yeah, it's 40 after you've had 40 surgeries. So there were people who said that.
Ouch.
So it's like, yeah, of course you look fantastic, but, also you've had some work done. So, some people they're entitled to their opinion. I think when you have a party like that and you're so public with it and you post it all over social media, you've got to take the good with the bad. People are going to wish you a happy birthday, wish you well. There are going to be people who don't care. And then there are also going to be people who have opinions about it.
I mean, Jeremy, you're gonna be, or actually, you just celebrated your 100th birthday.
Thank you. And I look damn good,
right? I mean, did you get 100 surgeries done, or how'd that go?
Hey, this is all natural, baby.
But as a celebrity, what do you think about this too? I mean, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, you know that I have never been the biggest fan of the whole Kardashian show, that situation, any of it. But here's the thing. We all know that Kim, there's no way that she could have this party. Even if she did, there's no way it's happening without the fanfare and the publicity. That's just not happening. That's who they are.
True.
But the fact is, as Lonnie said, if she decided to spend her money on this that she has, you know, that's her prerogative. Did they do it safely? Well, if they had people tested beforehand, if they had people cleared medically beforehand, that's as much as Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NFL, and college football are doing right now. So if it's good enough for sports to continue to go on and make millions of dollars, why is it not okay for a personal person to follow those same guidelines, to have people medically cleared, and then to go on and live their life?
Right.
True.
It's okay for these giant organizations. Why is it not okay for this person? Now, if they were totally irresponsible and everything else, that's a different story. But if they had people medically cleared, then they're doing as much as any of these other industries are that are still going on. So why is it not okay for this private citizen to go ahead and live their lives?
I think that the issue here is that many people may look at it from this perspective, that those organizations are legally abided to follow COVID protocols. A private citizen, not so much. She could say that they were all medically cleared, but how can she prove that? Like, is there any proof to what she's saying? I mean, she could easily just say that just to have people get off her back and still continue to do what she wants to do. I mean, I can say that you know, I'm going to the store, but really I'm not. You know, I could say, hey, Jeremy, I'll be at your home in 15 minutes and I'll never show up. You know what I mean? There's so many things that people can say, but is it actually true? Did it actually happen? Did she actually medically clear people for this? I mean, these are things that I believe many are wondering if it's actually even true.
Well, I'll go ahead and throw this in. One of the things that has been very well illustrated by this pandemic is the difference between the haves and the have-nots. Mm-hmm. That's been made very clear with how this pandemic is affecting people of, you know, people who are poor, people who have limited income, limited means. Mm-hmm. It's being really illustrated. Mm-hmm. You know, I'd be willing to bet that Kim, having that type of money, probably has access to quick testing and medical stuff that most people would not have access to or the ability to get done. Yes, it is possible she lied. Absolutely, that is a possibility. But in her position, doing what she's doing, with the liability that they would have if people got hurt and they acted recklessly, I would doubt that this was a lie. I really would. They have the means to get the testing done. They have the means to get a hold of these testing kits, which that can infuriate people, I'm sure, and they have a right to, considering there are other people that may need this for something much more important. But they have the means to make sure this was done right. And this is not only a show, but a family that is very, very open to liability. True. So I do not think that they would, you know, open themselves up to that. As frivolous and I'll be nice, absent-minded as they can be sometimes. That's the gentlest way I can put it. I find it very hard to believe that their lawyers, their business managers, everybody else that's involved with the money would allow them to be reckless about this and to open themselves up to lawsuits.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that is a good point right there. That they definitely wouldn't want to be liable, especially and even like they already get enough crap from the press and from social media as it is. I mean, they would be open. It would be a field day if something were to happen involving them and them being responsible for it. So the press and social media would go crazy for this. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a good point. I mean, chances are that they did take all the precautions. I mean, again,
this ought to tell you something. I'm defending the Kardashians.
Right?
Okay.
Right. That is pretty crazy.
That ought to tell you something.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, yeah. When you do that, I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe there is a point to what he's saying. Maybe there is a point. I don't know. It's crazy. But, you know, I mean, suffice it to say, it seems that she still had a good time. She had a great 40th birthday. So, you know, I mean, that's great that she enjoyed herself. I'm glad to also see that Khloe's doing better. They showed a picture of all three of them in they showed a picture of Khloe, Kim, and Kourtney standing side by side with one another in very, very skimpy bikinis. And, you know, surprise, surprise. But looks like Khloe is, you know, back to her old self. She's healthy. She's good. You know, she celebrated.
Speaking of Khloe, Xander, one of the things I noticed people were pointing out too on Instagram and Twitter was there were a couple of photos where Tristan Thompson was clearly there. So there, you know, the rumor is that he and Khloe are back together. So what people were saying about that, just for entertainment purposes, were funny. They were like, Tristan, really? So,
could it be possible that they, I mean, I don't know, maybe again going back to your theory on, you know, because Keeping Up with the Kardashians is coming to an end. Could it be possible that whole breakup was maybe staged, you know, to go ahead and you know, add more drama to the show? I mean, I don't know. It's hard to, you know, figure out where truth begins and where the acting starts. I mean, it's too crazy right now with that show, and you know, seeing as it's the last season, who knows what kind of stuff they're pulling to get the best ratings for the final episodes. Right. So, I mean,
I always have to remember they want people to watch. It makes it, they need a plot. They want people to watch. If everything is going well all the time, why would people watch?
True. Yeah, that's very true. People like watching drama. So, I mean, that's just what people love to do. But, yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I'm glad to see that Khloe's, you know, back to being healthy. You know, one thing I did point out, and I'm not sure because I don't, you know, I haven't seen it on social media. Was Kanye there at Kim's birthday?
That's a good question. I saw no photo of him.
Neither did I. I thought it was just me.
Is he campaigning? You know, because apparently, you know, he is running for office.
Even if he's campaigning, I mean, you'd think he'd be there for his wife's 40th birthday.
Well, you know, when you've been called by God to save the world, I mean, what's a birthday party? Oh, sorry, did I say that?
Wow, you're ruthless.
Dude, well, I'm sorry. I have very little respect for that insanity.
Wow. Well, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where maybe he just didn't want to be a part of a bunch of heathens, and you know, I mean, because he is, you know, he's God told him not to be a part of that. He told him to campaign. You know, he said, Kanye, and you shall go forth and campaign.
Right.
Go on, my son. So I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's strange because I didn't see him on there. So who knows if he was there? Who knows if he was just trying to be, you know, away from the cameras. That could be another thing too, that he's just trying to stay away from the camera, stay away from the spotlight, which if he's campaigning, that doesn't make any sense either. So I have no idea. That right there is a very strange thing that I don't know if many people have actually noticed that yet, but I'm sure they will. And they'll probably ask questions. Where was Kanye? So, you know, I guess we'll go ahead and find that out maybe in the next couple of days or so. We'll see what happens. In other entertainment news, Saved by the Bell, the trailer of the new Peacock original series, the NBC Peacock original series, aired this week. And man, it's so crazy to see all of them back together again. Not the entire crew, because Lark Voorhees, who played Lisa Turtle, isn't going to be on there. Neither is Samuel Screech Powers, played by Dustin Diamond. For obvious reasons, he's not going to be there because I don't know if you guys knew about the issues that he had. Of
course I know.
Obviously, yeah, like that was all over the place. The fact of the matter that he made a biopic on Lifetime, basically, according to what many people, including Mark Paul Gosselaar and many others from the original series, said that were pretty much lies. Like a lot of what he said was untrue, and Dustin Diamond got a lot of crap for that too. And he was going on a downward spiral as it was. I mean, he basically went broke. He thought this show, this Lifetime series or whatever it was gonna gain some sort of momentum for him. He got into porn. I mean, he got into selling sex toys. Jeez, the guy went all over the place. So obviously,
talk about a well-rounded life.
Tell me about it. So obviously, he didn't go that route, and he's obviously not going to be. From what I can tell so far, there hasn't been any word on it, but he's not going to be in the new TV show, which basically. This TV show has to do with a high school that needs like funding, and apparently Mark Paul Gosselaar reprises his role as Zach Morris as the governor of California, which would make sense, I guess, because Zach was always a little hustler and a true politician. Even when he was in high school, he knew how to talk people into anything. So he's got a son that pretty much looks a lot like him. Him and Tiffany Thiessen, who plays Kelly Kapowski on the show. They, as we all know, they got married in Saved by the Bell, the college years or whatever. They got married, so they end up staying. Apparently, they for lack of a better word, stay together. So they stay together in this new show. They showed her actually also coming in and doing a small scene here and there. The show all is actually around Mario Lopez's character AC Slater and also Jesse Spano's character, which is played by Elizabeth Berkley, Lauren. She's they're both pretty much AC plays the part of a PE teacher or a coach of some kind, obviously, and Jessie Spano, she plays the part. I'm assuming she's the principal of this high school, from what I saw in the trailer. So they are trying to pretty much save the school because they're cutting funding from the school, and of course, Zach is the governor of California, so there's going to be some talks in there about that. But the trailer was really cool, actually, to see the gang back together again. They dressed up in old 80s outfits. Another person that did a cameo was Max, I guess, the magician. I believe he's played by it's played by Ed Alonzo. So he reprised his role as well. I mean, if we all remember correctly, back in the series when the series started, he was actually the diner owner Max, and he performed many different magic tricks. So he's going to be reprising his role briefly as well. So there's a lot of old school coming in, a lot of new school coming in for this new TV series, or actually this new app series actually on the Peacock. I mean, I'm curious to see how they're gonna do it. I mean, obviously they got to be with the times and everything, so it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, Jeremy, you come from that era. What are your thoughts on this show coming back?
Well, I mean, they had a big fan base. I was not one of them. I mean, I didn't dislike the show. It's just nothing that I really got into. But
I mean, you were busy with your own show at the time, though.
I was, but I was also a fan of TV, so I watched a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I was friends with most of them. Mario and I go way back. I knew Dustin. I knew, Amber. Tiffany, but I knew a lot of them and I knew them pretty well. So it's really cool to see them, getting to do this, getting to reprise these characters. I love the fact that they brought Ed Alonzo back for playing the role of Max. Ed's a wonderful magician, very funny guy, and I've actually seen him many times at the Magic Castle, as well as worked with him on Masters of Illusion. So
yep, I was there.
It's very cool to see him being brought back for that as well. And it's when you have a nostalgia thing like this, that so many fans, so many friends, their childhood was wrapped up in a show like this. It was such a big part of so many people's childhood and adolescence that getting to see this now really brings back a lot of those memories. And if they do it right, you can really touch those heartstrings on the people who remember it in a very fond light. So it's an awesome opportunity for all of them. I'm really happy for them. And I hope they, I hope they make it work and maybe take it a little further than even, just one season.
Oh, totally. And I mean, I was a part of that era, actually. I was the one I used to love
I know you, youngin'.
Yeah, like Saturday mornings was the thing for me. I watched Saved by the Bell, and then after that, I used to watch California Dreams, which is also a really cool show. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I'm bringing it back. That was like, and then they brought in, I think there was another show called Hoops or something like that, having about a basketball team, or Hoop Dream, something like that. So, yeah, I was all about the Saturday morning teen drama series back in the day. So yeah, it was really cool to see this. I mean, Lonnie, did you ever watch any of these shows?
I wasn't a big I knew about the show. I didn't really watch it, but this is just me. I want to know why Lark Voorhees was not invited. Did it have anything to do with the fact that I know she recently went on Dr. Oz talking about her bipolar disorder?
I'm assuming it probably has a lot to do with it. Like I'm assuming I think I heard somewhere or I read somewhere that they did reach out to her, but I don't know if she responded or if she did. I think it might have been something like she wasn't ready to be in the spotlight or she didn't want to be in spotlight again, something like that. I don't remember too well, so don't really quote me on that. But if she's not on there, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a good reason. I'm assuming that they did reach out. I'm assuming, but I mean, again, don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. There wasn't really any reports on that, on whether or not they reached out to Lark or not.
Curious.
But see, and that would make sense for them to reach out to her, because I mean, she was actually a pretty big part of that show and a pretty big part of Mark Paul's dating life, because he was dating Lark in the early goings of the TV series back in the day. He dated Lark Voorhees for a while, and I mean they kept. I believe that they kept, according to Dustin Diamond's biopic, they kept their relationship kind of a secret for a while, because I guess back then having a interracial relationship was frowned upon in the industry, I guess, back in the early 80s. And so I think that's why they kept their relationship a secret, I believe. But yeah, no, they dated for a little bit. And it's you would think that Mark would go ahead and push to get Lark on there, but who knows? There's got to be reasons why they didn't. So, I mean, maybe she might make an appearance in later episodes, because they're looking at this show to go for a little bit. But first, they got to get past the pilot episode to see exactly if they get good feedback from it, if they get good high ratings. And if they do, obviously, they're going to push forward with it and see where it goes. So who knows? I mean, we're all going to have to wait until it premieres on the Peacock, which is the NBC app. So we'll go have to wait and see what happens with that. In other entertainment news, looks like there are talks about an all-female Avengers movie, and Letitia Wright says it's only a matter of time. Apparently, she spoke with Yahoo Entertainment, involving her role in the upcoming Amazon Small Axe series. And, they talked a little bit about these types of the what's going on and everything in that show, but they also touched on an all female Avengers movie, which actually would make sense because if we remember correctly, I mean, obviously, since the loss of Chadwick Boseman, there were talks that she's going to go ahead and I believe it's her that's going to go ahead and play is going to play the role of the new Black Panther, I believe. It's funny because Jeremy and I, we talked about this, how that would make sense.
It was really the only. It was really the only way for them to do it. I mean, you can't bring another male actor in to try and replace him. It's just not going to work. Especially,
there was some talk. I heard somebody saying, it was just a friend of mine. I don't know what you guys would think, but Denzel Washington's son, John David, possibly replacing Chaps.
It wouldn't be anything against his son. Just in general, the point I think, I was really hung up on was just, it's similar to the Heath Ledger situation where when somebody really puts their stamp on a role, even if you lose them too early to complete it, you can't just fill someone else in. It's been done, it's been tried, and it never really works. That's, I think, one of the reasons why Xander and I were talking about that was bringing her in. She was such a crucial part of the previous movies. She already had established a kind of dominant type of role in the relationship. She was already headstrong. They made her a very strong character as it is. It really made sense that the best way to continue that story without dishonoring it was to use her character as the next Black Panther. Anybody else you try and plug in there takes away from what was done before, in my opinion.
And the thing is that, especially right now, women empowerment being, on an all-time rise, and it keeps on going up, and that would just make sense for Marvel to go ahead and have her continue the mantle of Black Panther. And at this point, it's something that's definitely being considered. She went ahead and said, quote, "I don't think we have to fight for it. Victoria Alonso, Marvel Studios executive vice president, is very strong about spearheading it. Alongside Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, it's only a matter of time before they do it." So, and we kind of got to see a little bit of a tease of an all-female Avengers cast, because if you remember in Avengers Endgame, there was a small scene where Spider-Man was trying to get the gauntlet into the hands
in the final battle.
And then suddenly you saw all the women get together and they're like, "Don't worry, we got your back." And it was awesome to see that. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll tell you right now, dude, I fanboyed out over that so bad. I mean, I'm such an Avengers fan anyway, but in that moment in the movie, I mean, it was one of those where I'm in the theater and I must have said it out loud. I was like, "Yeah!" I mean, it was that.
I was there with you.
I mean, it was that moment, and it was so cool to see. And as a fan of the genre and everything, you have always had such strong female characters in Marvel.
And it was and the thing is, I was there. I mean, if you recall, Jeremy, we went to go see Endgame with your.
Yes, I know. I was trying to forget that you were there. But,
whatever. Anyways, come on, face it. You had fun. No, but it was crazy because it's funny. I mean, and I think you heard it too. That the moment that scene happened, the entire theater was like, "Yeah!" People went bananas when they saw that. They started clapping. They're like, "Oh, it's on now. You got the women coming out. You're about to get your butt kicked, Thanos." It was really awesome to see that moment in that scene was so empowering. It made such a huge statement at that moment in time that, I mean, if an all-female Avengers cast happened, I think it would do incredibly well in the box office. Unfortunately, they tried doing something similar with Sirens, with the DC movie Sirens, which is actually not bad either. I actually enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it didn't do too well at the box office, I don't think. But I finally got to watch it on HBO Max, and I liked it. It was okay, you know, having Harley Quinn, having the other characters. I believe it was I can't remember. That's how bad it was. No, I'm not saying it was bad in the movie. That's how bad my memory is. But they had the female Archer. She played a role in there. The character's name escapes me right now. But they had an all-female cast in that one too. The Emancipation of Harley Quinn. You know, and it was a good movie. I gotta say, it was a good movie. I actually enjoyed it. It was, you know, it was okay. I don't understand why it didn't do too well at the box office. There's got to be reasons why. Who knows? But I thought it was okay, and I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm looking forward to an all-star, to an all-female cast of Avengers. So I guess we'll have to wait and see and find out. You know, we'll have to.
I'm here for it. I'm a big fan of hers. Letitia, I loved her. She was my favorite character in Black Panther because of her strength and just how smart she was. And I really loved the chemistry between her and Chadwick.
They had such an incredible, like, brother-sister chemistry. Like, they had a really cool brother-sister. I loved it too. Like, it was a really cool chemistry that they had together. One person that she did mention in the interview that had to be in an all-female Avengers movie was obviously Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. You know, and
Brie too. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing is that Brie had a lot of issues with a lot of the cast members of Avengers. She had a couple of issues with a couple of the actors on there and everything.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, big time. You could even see it in interviews, the disdain that they had for one another. Because Jeremy, you had a couple of opinions on that one, so go ahead and fill that one in.
Yeah, I want to know.
Well, again, a lot of this was coming through the media and was only implied by the other actors. Nobody really addressed it head on or directly. But yeah, she was not real popular with a lot of the other cast, and the way it seemed was that she kind of came in like, yeah, I'm the new badass, and I'm the new face of the franchise, and I'm kind of the boss now. And that didn't really play real well with people as established as Robert Downey and everybody else who had made this franchise what it was. People weren't real happy with the way she kind of came into it. That coupled with the backlash that a lot of the fans had, she was not the most popular choice for a Captain Marvel. It wasn't a good situation all around. And you can just see it in the group interviews, at the premiere, all that different stuff. It's the cast and then her. I mean, it is so separate. I mean, they're all together, but you can see it, you can feel it. And there are times where she is speaking, you can see on the other actors' faces, they're just sitting there going, please shut up. The one actor she seemingly had an issue with was Don Cheadle. Don was he didn't hold back. He was actually Don did not hold back at all.
I mean, there's a couple of interviews where he actually went ahead and put her on the spot when she was like, pretty much saying that she was the new face of the Avengers and this, that, and the other. And Don would chime in and be like, you are the new face, so you better make sure you don't screw it up. Wow. So he was brutal with her because he just didn't take it, because there was also rumors that apparently Chris Hemsworth made a couple of jokes that she wasn't too keen on, and Cheetah would be like, dude, relax, okay? I mean, it's just a joke, okay? Just don't take anything personal. Just chill out, okay? I mean, Chris is that's how he jokes around. And according to Chris, he was like, yeah, we're just playing around and everything. So, I mean, Chris is more jovial about it, but Don took it as, dude, you're taking it too personal. You need to relax a little bit. Right. It's almost like a senior telling a freshman, dude, chill, freshman. Okay. I mean,
Right.
We've been here longer than you have. You know, this is a family. If you're going to be a part of this family, you're going to have to like deal with a lot of the craziness that goes on here with amongst us, you know? So, I mean, that's just, you gotta play along to get along, you know? I mean, come on. So, I mean, that's basically what Don Cheadle was pretty much saying to her. I mean, you know, in not those words per se, but just in the way he was acting towards her and certain gestures, again, you know, like Jeremy said, there were times where there were interviews and she'd be talking and you could see Don Cheadle in the background saying, "Oh my God, shut up." You know, Jeremy Renner was another one that was incredibly vocal against Brie Larson. Yeah, Jeremy Renner did not like Brie Larson at all. Like he straight up pretty much said, I think in an interview, that he didn't like her. I mean, he was very diplomatic in his words, and very candid, but at the same time very upfront with who he didn't like or who he didn't get along with. And Brie was top of that list. And of course there's also been rumors that Jeremy Renner's not exactly too easy to get along with either on set. There's been rumors about that too. So I mean, you know, you have two people that have that type of those types of attitudes, you know, they're gonna clash.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is might be happening, what you guys are talking about, is we're talking about people with very strong personalities and who are used to having things turn out their way. And all of them are good in what they do. I mean, I just recently saw Robert Downey Jr.'s interview on David Letterman. I've always respected him as an actor, but the humility, but yet confidence that he brings, I really, really appreciated it on during the interview.
Well, you know, I mean, being somebody who's come through recovery myself, seeing him lift himself up from where he was, you know, 30 years ago, us all watching the news, seeing him dragged in cuffs, strung out and everything else, to the humble, gracious man he seems to have become at the true top of his profession. I mean, you want to talk about being at the pinnacle. I mean, he's it right now when it comes to this. And again, they're all very powerful personalities. Like you said, Lonnie, strong personalities. These are all A-list actors who have established themselves. And for me, again, I wasn't on set. I don't know how it went down. But I'll tell you this. I don't care what I've done. I'm not walking into a set of established actors who have created this juggernaut and trying to throw my weight around. Right. You know, I don't understand that type of mentality. Because
my whole thing in anything, if you go in thinking you know everything, then what is there to learn? There's nothing to learn. And that goes with anything. You know what I mean? If I go into a room doing anything, thinking I know everything, I mean, I can kind of maybe liken it a little bit. And I'm only going to use this as an example to yoga. And the only reason why this is at the top of my mind, because this is a instructor who I follow on Instagram, who I have a lot of respect for. And they've been practicing a long time, and they own a business in Miami. And I remember the first time I took the class, I was way in over my head. I really was. And, you know, it was a type of genre that I haven't really practiced that often. It was very vigorous. And I just remember being in over my head. Now, I kind of played it like I knew what I was doing in a funny, sort of humble way. What I really appreciated about him was that he was very nurturing and let me stay there and sort of learn at my own pace. Now, had I gone in there cocky, thinking I've known everything, I could have actually really hurt myself. And so I just think a lot of times if you go into something, whatever the project may be, thinking you know everything, then there's nothing to learn.
That's a really good point. I was going to say something similar to that. It just in that, you know, again, I'm not taking away from what, you know, Brie had established and what she's already accomplished, but coming into this situation
compared to them,
exact, that's what I mean. And coming into this situation with what not only these actors have established in their careers, but what they have established with this franchise. Coming in as the newbie, I mean, I guarantee you many of them would have been willing to mentor her in the role of, you know, this new superhero. I mean, there's a lot she could have gotten from all of them had she been willing, and had maybe she not rubbed them the wrong way from the start.
I mean, you know, it's difficult because you're talking about a young woman that has been, you know, Oscar nominated, and I think she won an Oscar, didn't she?
Did she win? I know she's from Sacramento. That I do know.
I know she was nominated for an Oscar. I'm not sure if she won, but regardless, you know, she's at that point where she's on, you know, I would imagine she's up there. And the other thing too is that, and we talked about this as well, Jeremy, is that she is an active feminist. And, you know, not to say that that's a bad thing or anything like that, but I'm sure that there were certain things that were going on there, you know, involving Jeremy Renner, Don Cheadle, that she took offense to, like major offense to, and that could have, you know, might have triggered them, you know, button heads from time to time. So that could have also actually, you know, triggered something there too. Who knows? We weren't there. We weren't on set. We have no idea. These are just assumptions. And we're also going by hearsay. We don't know exactly what happened, why they don't really get along, or if they even, you know, if they even have a problem with one another. We don't know because they haven't really actually said it out loud. You know, this is just based off of interviews and body language and certain things that these actors have said to one another and about one another. There's just so many, you know, questions up in the air that we'll probably never know. Or maybe there might be a tell-all book one of these guys might do, who knows, that'll go ahead and put all that dirty laundry out there. But yeah, I mean, going back to the all-female Avengers, again, you know, she's definitely up on that list according to Letitia Wright, that, you know, to have her come on an all female Avengers movie. Obviously she's there's Captain Marvel 2 is still, you know, in the works of being filmed and everything. Obviously COVID put a damper on things, so there were talks that they're going to go ahead and reschedule filming for Captain Marvel 2. So that's still to be seen when it happens with that. So we'll go ahead and keep an eye on all that. Again, we're hoping that you know they do the Black Panther right, they do Chadwick Boseman right by having Letitia take on the mantle of Black Panther. That's what we're hoping for, and I'm pretty sure that that's what's going to end up happening. And that's definitely a movie that I'd definitely go watch. You know, it seems like it would make sense, and it would honor the late actor Chadwick Boseman. So we'll go ahead and keep an eye on that. Coming up next in sports, more talk on the Dodgers and Justin Turner. We'll talk a little bit about what happened with him. But first, here is Evanescence, Going Under, right here on the Xander Effect.
Now I will tell you what I've done for you. 50,000 tears I've cried, screaming, deceiving, and bleeding for you, and you still won't hear me. Don't want your hand this time, I'll save myself. Maybe I'll wake up once, not tormented, daily defeat.
Annie Celeste.
This is Larry Naemar, the founder of E! Entertainment Television.
Hi, this is Maricela Cornell.
Hey, how's it going? This is Polo Molina.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is the Xander Effect, and I am the DJ KID, the Kick the Creek. Welcome to the place to be.
Such a fake, can't let go. Can't let go. Her flaws, her cries, can her heart still break if its soul turns hollow? Baby, I don't wanna die with you on my mind. I'ma make it right. Promise me you'll come home tonight.
That was Zacaeda's Thorazine right here on the Xander Effect. In sports, obviously we know the Dodgers' new 2020, Major League Baseball World Series champions. We're freaking happy over here in Los Angeles, and everything was great. We were celebrating. We heard the last pitch. Everything was awesome, but then it was a little bittersweet because apparently, according to news sources, immediately after the celebration, there was breaking news that Dodger Justin Turner had a positive test of COVID. So he tested positive for COVID, but here's the ringer to this whole thing. During the celebration, and I thought it was just me, but no, I saw that multiple news sources actually caught this too. He was out celebrating the Dodgers win after they had said that he was immediately removed from the World Series after they got the test results back. And I even saw him hit take a hit. I think it was like probably bottom or top of the 8th inning, something like that. So he had played practically the entire game until they pulled him for testing positive for COVID. So that was a very late test result. He had been interacting with his teammates. Who knows if he interacted with some of the teams of the Tampa Bay Rays. Who knows if he had interacted with any of the teammates from there. I mean, there was a lot of talk about that, because even after there was scenes of him celebrating with the rest of the Dodgers, there was even a portion of they took a team photo and he wasn't with a mask on. He had his mask off. I mean,
I need to address.
Possible.
Hold on. First of all, this has been addressed to some degree. He got caught up in the moment and went out for a minute. There were pictures taken. He then left the field. If you watch multiple interviews with the other Dodgers, they all are talking about how it's wrong that, it feels so wrong that Justin's not able to be out there on the field celebrating with them. Mm-hmm. So it did happen, but it happened briefly. And when they did the team picture, you can see it in the close-up of the video while they're doing it. He holds the mask is on completely until right before they take the picture. He takes it down. He is holding his breath. You can see it. And then he puts the mask back up.
Okay,
you can see that he is holding his breath, and that, you can see like he's actually starting to turn a little red while they're doing it. So again, some of this has been taken a little out of context.
Well,
I just still say it remains to be seen. 2 weeks from now, it's often the Dodgers won, but if some other players come down with COVID who were in that group team picture, then
But the thing about that though, Lonnie, is that you also have to say we can't blame the team group picture, because he got his test results late. He didn't know he had it.
I don't understand that. Why did he get them late? If they didn't have the test, I don't understand why the results came in that late.
I can explain this actually. It was a B sample. So their samples, they take multiple samples before the game, and his initial test came back inconclusive.
Okay.
So they had to run the second sample. But because he had tested clear the days beforehand, they went ahead and let him play. But it was
that was on the MLB though. That was on the MLB.
That's on MLB.
Yeah, that's not on Justin.
But he was, it was an original sample. That's why it came in so late. This was not any, nobody was trying to hold the information back or anything like that. It was literally they had a bad first sample, and by the time the second sample came back, they were already in the 7th inning.
And that's the thing, is that's all on the MLB's fault, because if a player's test results come back inconclusive, they should have still held them back from playing, because until they got a complete negative. That's what they should have done.
Absolutely. And let me bring this up. Think about this part of it. It's not just the health implications for these people. It's not just that. These are athletes who have already been removed from their families and their lives, living in this bubble for 6 to 8 weeks now. And now all of these players, whether you won or lost, in your head, you were finally going home. And now you might have been exposed. Every one of these players may have to remain in quarantine for another 2 weeks when they have already been away from their families and everybody else in their lives for so long. This is the pinnacle, and they finally get that relief. We're done. We get to go home. We get to return to our families. And now this. I mean, what an absolute just kick in the crotch.
Well,
a better word.
Well, not just that, but I mean, unfortunately, a lot of players, they were celebrating with families on the field, and I don't know. Did they know that Justin had tested positive? Because I mean, they were celebrating with their families on the fields and everything. I saw a lot of them hugging their significant others. Granted, they were wearing masks and everything, but some weren't. Is it possible that they didn't know about Justin's results until later on, and then now it's possible that their families might have been exposed as well in that short period of time? That's that could be.
I'd be very surprised if someone else doesn't test positive.
Well, and let's remember, there is also the small chance, although it hasn't, we haven't heard anything negating that first test, but we have had a rash of false positives in sports over the last couple of weeks. We had an NFL game postponed because of a bunch of false positives. So I'm still holding out some small amount of hope that this was a false positive and that, everybody will be okay. But, we'll have to wait and see. As you said, Lonnie, this is not anything we'll know over the next couple of days. It's going to reveal itself over the next couple weeks.
In a sense, though, it's unfortunate because you look at the headlines for the sports, even online today, and, yes, everyone is excited that the Dodgers won, especially the fans in LA, but this is the other story.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been a little overshadowed.
And in addition to this being, the other story in the headlines, because I can almost guarantee you probably all three stations, ABC, CBS, and NBC, and I'm not even in LA, I am sure they'll have a sidebar story or a story about this. And the other thing too is, of course, they're not having a parade. The Lakers are not having a parade. So it's like this celebration is just bittersweet. Yeah, the Dodgers aren't having a parade, nor are the Lakers having a parade, and it's just bittersweet for a lot of people because both of them won this year.
And if I can break in for just a second, we have breaking news. Just in right now, reported on ESPN, Major League Baseball will begin an investigation into Justin Turner returning to the field to celebrate.
Wow.
Oof.
Yep.
Oof. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. That he shouldn't have been out there at all. Wearing a mask, not wearing a mask. I mean, he really shouldn't have been out there at all. It's I get it that you want to celebrate. This is a wonderful moment, but this virus is a very serious deal. That one slip up. I mean, it was one slip up that caused him to get the virus to begin with, and it's one of those things where, unfortunately, that one slip up may cost you to continue playing the rest of the game. Not that I don't think he had, I don't think he was up very many times after that. I'm not sure. I don't think, but still, you're putting a lot of people at risk at that point. And even after exactly that you were pulled from the game because you were positive for COVID, why did you go back out there? You should have stayed back. You shouldn't have gone out, not even for the team picture, or at least if you had the team picture, wear your mask, even if you're holding your breath. It's still, it's one of those things where it's still putting people at risk, regardless. Yep. It's still putting people at risk. And, if Major League Baseball needs to investigate it, it just sucks. It really sucks that, from all the excitement and everything, this had to happen. And, and I was telling, and I believe I told you this, Jeremy, as well, that Major League Baseball all season long, no cases of COVID. They had that bubble. They had that bubble locked down tight. It just so happens that the final game, or potentially the final game of the World Series, because we didn't know at that point if they were going to win or lose or go into Game 7. It just so happens that the final game, potentially, they get one positive out of the entire season. The bubble was breached briefly. So far, from what I can tell, the only ones that haven't been able to breach COVID protocol was the NBA. That was the only one that was like completely sealed out. And it was the only one that was actually, there were no cases from anybody could hear about. So yeah, it's a crazy situation that happened. It's an unfortunate situation that happened. But that's still, to be honest, that's still not going to overshadow the fact of the matter that the Dodgers won after 32 years of not being World Series champions. They won, and Los Angelenos, regardless, we're happy about that. I don't care.
Are you kidding? I mean, go ahead, Lonnie.
Yeah, of course they're happy.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, yes, this does overshadow it. It definitely puts a little bit of a damper on things, but just the sheer fact that a pitcher of the caliber of Clayton Kershaw finally has this vindication, especially after having a World Series essentially stolen 2 years ago.
Yep.
Having a incredible career. I mean, he was the only 3-time Cy Young winner to not have won a World Series.
Wow.
Ever in the history of baseball. The only one. And I mean, yes, I'm happy for all the Dodgers and for all the Dodgers fans, but Clayton Kershaw has been the face of this franchise for so long. He has literally lifted them up when they had nothing else. And to see him finally get this vindication, no one can ever take away the fact that he is a World Series champion. It is a very sweet thing for a lot of Dodger fans.
Correct. And that's something that we're all going to remember. We're going to remember most of all the Dodgers winning the World Series in 2020. That's what people are going to remember. We're not going to remember Justin Turner getting or anything like that.
I hope
that's a footnote.
I hope that's a footnote. We'll have to see over the next 2 weeks. Right. I mean, I hate to be pessimistic like that, but God forbid anybody suffer any serious reactions from this, and it will not be a footnote if that's the case.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's true. That's true. I mean, let's hope that everybody, everybody is okay, and it was only Justin that got it, unfortunately. But hopefully this will be an isolated incident. And, we'll see what happens. I guess we're just going to have to, keep apprised of the situation. We'll see. But in other sports news, looks like COVID is definitely hitting hard in many other places, including in college football, as Wisconsin cancels its football game against Nebraska after an outbreak of COVID-19. Looks like the number 9 Badgers game against Nebraska is completely canceled. The game will not be rescheduled, and it's a very disappointing cancellation, according to head coach Paul Chryst, who went on to say, quote, "This morning I received the news that I had tested positive via a PCR test I took yesterday. I informed my staff and the team this morning, and I'm currently isolating at home. I had not been experiencing any symptoms and feel good as of this morning. I am disappointed for our players and coaching staff who put so much into preparing to play each week, but the safety of everyone in our program has to be our top priority, and I support the decision made to pause our team activities." So that's got to be tough. For a head coach to have been infected by this horrible virus, but at least he's doing the responsible thing, which is not being a part of it. And the NCAA is definitely taking major precautions to protect their students and their players and their staff. So that's a good thing that they're doing that.
Let me walk that back for a second. Yes, they are doing some, but Nick Saban, the Alabama coach, also tested positive.
True.
Just a week or so ago. And instead of canceling the game, they waited right up until the beginning of it to see if he had any more positive tests. Now, it wasn't a false positive, it was a real positive. But because they tested him 2 days later and said that there was no positive test then, they allowed him to go and coach the game amongst all the staff and all those kids. That is irresponsible. Okay, plain and simple. So don't sit here and tell me that the NCAA did what they should. No, they're not protecting them.
No,
they're after the NCAA is after the money, like they always are.
That's what I was about, and I can even speak about this from firsthand because I have a relative who's attending Syracuse, and I'll just say is playing for one of the teams there. And I remember when the COVID thing, first happened. Well, yeah, because it's been going on for a while. And I remember where he had to go to school, and we were all wondering, was he going to be expected to practice, and how long were they going to be holding them and not having? Those kids were still expected who are on an athletic scholarship, to be there. Even with everyone out, all the other kids are, social distancing and taking, remote classes, not the athletic program.
Yep, it's all about the money for them. It really is horrific because these kids were told flat out by almost every major university, and I am ashamed to say USC was one of these, that basically told every athlete that, yeah, you can choose to opt out of the season, but your scholarship won't be protected.
Yep.
Wow. So these kids
terrible.
had all across the country. Every school did this. Every major school in Division I NCAA did this, and that is absolutely horrific. These kids who do not get paid, who are not taken care of, who are forgotten about the second they get injured by most universities, are being told that you have to play and risk your life, or you lose your future.
And who can intervene in against the NCAA? That's the question.
Nobody. They're the Gestapo.
Yeah, there's nothing that can stop them from doing what they're doing.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is terrible. This is terrible that this is going on. And oh man, I mean, at least we could take solace that at least one university is being responsible. If the NCAA is not being responsible, then at least one university is actually being responsible.
Glad to see they are.
In this whole situation. So it's unfortunate that game had to be canceled, but the safety comes for the safety of the students and the staff come first. So that's a good thing that they're taking those precautions at least. So props to them for that. In other sports news, the Utah Jazz is going to be sold to Qualtrics founder Ryan Smith for $1.66 billion, according to sources. The Miller family basically entered into an agreement to sell the Utah Jazz and Vivint Smart Home Arena to Ryan Smith. And so far it seems like it's a done deal. It just needs to go through the official. It has to be formally approved by the NBA Board of Governors. But looks like it's going to go in Smith's direction. He went ahead and said, quote, "I've approached Gail and the Millers a couple of times. There's no secret about my interest in the NBA, and there's really no secret about my interest in the Jazz. I grew up watching the Jazz. This is the team I cheered for. I played junior Jazz. I dreamed of playing for the Jazz, and that didn't work out. But as I was sitting there this week in the junior Jazz program you guys started, with hundreds of kids running around, the legacy you've created is untouchable. We're all incredibly grateful for that. The Jazz are a gift to this whole community, and that's how we view it. That's 100% how we view this." So, I mean, it seems that I think that that's actually a good thing. Maybe Smith will go ahead and bring a little bit of a different attitude towards the Utah Jazz, seeing as the team hasn't been doing too well these past couple of seasons. So I mean, maybe Ryan Smith's being a new owner, he might implement new management, new scouting. Who knows? I mean, he's a Utah resident, so obviously he's a Utah Jazz fan. So he might want to go ahead and have some ideas to implement for the Utah Jazz. I mean, this could be a good thing for them. I don't know.
Well, speaking for their fans, it could be a good thing. I mean, moving in a new direction, getting some new blood, it can always be a good thing. But speaking as a Lakers fan, I hate the Utah Jazz with a passion, and I hope this blows up in their face and they continue to be bottom dwellers in the NBA. I hate the Utah Jazz almost as much as I hate the Boston Celtics. So, yeah. I always look for, with new ownership, what are they going to do? What direction are they going to try? Are they going to try and, shift the entire foundation the team has been built on? Are they going to take it in a whole new direction? That kind of stuff's always interesting. But as a rival, oh man, I hope it blows up in their face.
I mean, do you really hate the Utah Jazz, Jeremy? Do you?
Can you tell? I was trying to sugarcoat it.
I didn't catch that. I was a little bit. Yeah. I mean, it just seems that you held back a little bit.
Well, I'm sorry, but when you have basically, because John Stockton was such a nice guy.
I couldn't stand John Stockton or Karl Malone.
Just because he was a nice guy on camera, they had this reputation as being this, do it right, do it the right way.
This wholesome BS.
They were the dirtiest damn team in the world. Karl Malone and John Stockton were two of the dirtiest NBA players that played during that time. And it pissed me off that everybody looked at them as such saints and angels, and they had this clean, it was like the 49ers back in the 80s. 80s. Everybody thought this, the West Coast Golden Boys, dirtiest team in the NFL back then. It was. I've never liked it when a team plays dirty and yet doesn't get called out on it.
Well, then again, and then the news came out about Karl Malone trying to hit up on Kobe Bryant's wife.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah. No, the guy's a scumbag. The guy's a complete and he has no remorse whatsoever about doing it.
Wait. Back it up. What happened?
He was trying to hit up on Vanessa Bryant.
Recently?
It was back when Malone had been brought to the Lakers for that one horrific season, and it didn't go very well.
I mean, Come on. You do not hit. First of all, you don't hit on another man's wife.
Exactly.
Secondly, you don't hit on Kobe Bryant's wife.
Oh, wow.
Come on. That's just a stupid thing to do. And the guy, I've seen interviews with Karl Malone. The guy just seems really scummy. Like, seems really slimy, and, he has no remorse whatsoever. I've seen, I also saw, the recent interview when they were talking about the Bulls and everything, and he still is a legend in his own mind. The guy still thinks that he's, one of the best, and how Michael Jordan was underrated or overrated, and he still thinks he's a legend in his own mind. The guy, I never liked Karl Malone. As a Laker fan, I never liked him. I never liked John Stockton either. I couldn't stand the Utah Jazz either.
Yeah. I don't really care about them changing their management. I think maybe change is good, their ownership. But I've always thought, this is just me talking, their name of their basketball team is weird. The Jazz.
Yeah, it really is. I gotta agree with that.
Yes, it's not exactly something Utah is known for.
Right? Exactly.
It's just a weird name. That's just me.
You would think that New Orleans would take that.
Right?
That would make more sense for the New Orleans Jazz.
Chicago, any of the.
Yeah, it just just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. So yeah, I agree with you on that. It's a very weird name. So, but I guess we'll go ahead and see what exactly Ryan Smith is going to have in store for his newly acquired team. Of course, again, the NBA Board of Governors has to formally approve it, but it seems like it's going to go through anyway. So we'll see what happens next season with the new Utah Jazz under new ownership. Coming up next in video game news, Hitman 3 is coming to the Nintendo Switch as a cloud game. We'll talk a little bit about that. But first, here is Pitbull featuring Becky G and De La Ghetto, Mala remix right here on the Xander Effect.
Pótate, bien mal, Becky. Pótate, bien mal. Mr. Worldwide. Pótate, bien mal, Becky. Pótate, bien mal.
Yo no soy mala, no soy tan mala. Yo no soy mala. Cambié esa cara, yo sé que tu papi, tú no me quieres nada, solo me quieres para llevarme la cama.
Na, baby, you know I drive you crazy. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. You know that you wanna. Boom shakalaka, like it. The way you move your body, make a chico get excited. Yo sé que tú te portas bien mal. Yo sé que tú te portas bien mal. Ven pa' acá, mamita, ven pa' acá, malita. Sabe Dios lo que tú haces, diablita. Hazte la buena, hazte la fina. Tú sabes cómo esto termina.
Yo sé que tu papi, tú no me quieres nada, solo me quieres para llevarme la cama.
Na, baby, you know I drive you crazy. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. You know that you wanna.
Okay, chiquitita peligrosa from the streets. Prefiere vino tinto, no le gusta el Louis. Que la lleva a mi cama y que me hace un striptease. Me tiene corriendo como si fuera police. Jump, brinca nena, lo que me pide es acción. Pegadito lo hacemos tú y yo. Guayarte entera, baby, y ese pantalón. Bailamos toda la noche este reggaetón.
Yo sé que tu papi, tú no me quieres nada, solo me quieres para llevarme la cama.
Na, baby, you know I drive you crazy. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. You know that you
sé que tu papi, tú no me quieres nada, solo me quieres para llevarme a la cama, cama, cama.
Na, baby, you know I drive you crazy. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. You know that you wanna.
Yo, what's happening? It's your favorite gangster, Duke Brown.
Hey guys, this is Ian Gary.
Hey, this is Annalise Hoveda.
Hey yo, this is Nightmare from Dirty Machine.
Hi, this is Cambry Loveseed.
Hey, this is Dovely.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening to the Xander Effect.
You feeling what?
That was Qwes, Kross, and Bobby BeeBob's Losing My Religion right here on the Xander Effect. In video game news, looks like Hitman 3 is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch as a cloud game. According to writer, IGN.com writer Joe Skrebels, he said, quote, Hitman 3 will be released on Nintendo Switch as a cloud-based version of the game. Announced in today's Nintendo Direct Mini, no release date was given for the game, but it confirmed that you'll need a persistent internet connection to play it on Nintendo's hybrid handheld. Hitman 3 is due to release on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, Stadia, and PC on January 20th. The lack of date might imply that this version will arrive later, although that's not confirmed. Now, I have Hitman 1 and 2, both awesome freaking games. I love the Hitman series. It has a great storyline. I love how you get to play a character where you have to do a lot of sneaking around. You can go ahead and knock out an innocent bystander and take their clothes so that way you can pretend to be someone else. I mean, it's got the game's really, really cool. I'm still actually playing Hitman 2 because there's a lot of games I have to go through, but so far I love Hitman 2. I want to get through that one so I could look forward to Hitman 3 coming out on the Xbox Series X. So definitely a lot to look forward to as far as that's concerned. And, hopefully the Nintendo Switch will do it justice. We'll have to wait and see. But there is other news in video games that I'm simply so pissed about. And Jeremy, you actually broke this news to me right before we started the show, and I was in shock when you told me.
Yeah, it has happened again, folks. This was dropped last night on a YouTube gamer forum that I follow, a YouTube gamer named ESO. Great channel. Check him out, guys. But it dropped last night. It looks like Cyberpunk is being pushed back yet again.
Unbelievable.
And people are absolutely furious. Right now, the tentative date is now December 21st, which is exactly 3 weeks after the original date. And there is rumor it could be pushed back even further because they're talking about still doing certain types of testing on the game, which, as you and I have talked about already, this game has been in production for how many years? They've already pushed it back years. I mean, this was supposed to be dropped a year or two ago.
What are they afraid of? Seriously, what are they afraid of?
I don't know. I'm really confused now at this point. I mean, how do you have a game that is set to release in a couple of weeks and you're still going through some forms of beta testing? I don't get it.
I'm just at a loss for words when it comes to that because I was so looking forward to it. I saw it on the Xbox store. I have it pre-ordered. I'm like, dude, Cyberpunk's coming out next year, blah, blah, and now this. And I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me right now?
The top comment on the announcement was, I think, kind of sums up the fans' feelings at this point. And the very number one most viewed comment when this was dropped was a fan who just said, all I have left to say to you is F you.
Wow. It's because, that pretty much sums up what we're all thinking. That's exactly what we're all thinking. I mean, here's a game that we've been waiting on, like Jeremy said, for years. I mean, when I first heard about it, I was like, wow, this is going to be an awesome game. They even had trailers for it. They had gameplay for it. They had all these teasers for it. They straight up are teasing us with this. And it's, teasing us with no release. We want to release. Come on, you're giving us blue balls here. You're giving us video game gamer blue balls here. This is
Seriously, did not say that.
It's true. It's true. I mean, as a gamer, you're giving us gamer blue balls, which is a thing now. I'm making it a thing. You have us over here. You're teasing the hell out of us. You're getting us ready to go, and then you say, you know what? I have a headache. I'm gonna go ahead and you turn over. No, you can't leave us like that. You can't do that to us.
They've been doing it for years apparently, and we're just taking it.
Oh my God, this is just horrible. I cannot believe that they're doing this once again. I mean, they really need to get their stuff together. They really, really do. I mean, this is insanity. We've been waiting, you know. I mean, the only solace I have is that next month, Assassin's Creed Valhalla comes out. So at least that's gonna take up most of my time for a few weeks until I get my mind out of thinking about Cyberpunk. I actually canceled my pre-order of Call of Duty Cold War. I want to wait a little bit before I actually order it because I played the beta version, was not impressed. Call of Duty Cold War, it just seemed like they're just regurgitating, the gameplay over and over again. Many people are actually buying it because of zombies, which I guess is cool, but I wasn't really too impressed with zombies either. And so, yeah, I'm waiting to see what the reviews of Cold War are as far as multiplayer goes, because that's mainly what I play. So that's why I decided to cancel my pre-order of that. I want to see how that goes. But Assassin's Creed Valhalla is coming out, so I'm looking forward to that. I mean, you could always count on Ubisoft to always come out with a great product as Assassin's Creed. So that's yet to be seen on this version of it. So we'll find out what happens with that. But yeah, very disappointed to hear that, Jeremy. Thank you for ruining my day.
It's my pleasure. Anytime I can do that for you, you just let me know.
Oh, you accomplished it wholeheartedly, you jackass. At this point, I'm definitely blaming the messenger. Definitely.
Awesome.
Again, Lonnie, you have to be a gamer to understand how disappointing this is.
I'm just listening to you guys and calculating how much money you spend per year.
It's a lot.
It's a substantial amount. Let's put it that way. That's why I'm saying, we need some of these developers to kind of, come on the Xander Effect and sponsor us a little bit. We need to see what your games are like. Come on now. So I'm just throwing that out there, just in case anybody's
balls in your court, guys.
Exactly. We'll just leave it up to you. Exactly. So, but that's the news. In case you haven't heard it, thank you so much for listening once again to our humble podcast, The Xander Effect, and I want to go ahead and thank my wonderful co-hosts. First, I'd like to thank ladies first, Miss Lonnie Rivera. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Great to be here.
Awesome. And of course, I'd like to go ahead and also thank my other beautiful co-host, Mr. Jeremy Miller.
I try, baby. I try.
And again, everyone, it's still a pandemic out there. We're still trying to, keep things safe. So make sure you wear your mask, practice basic hygiene, wash your hands, don't touch your face, wear gloves if you got them, wear goggles if you got them, keep yourself safe, keep your loved ones safe at all times. Also, remember, we're getting closer and closer to Election Day. It's a little over
5 days.
Yeah, it's a week away, so make sure you get out, you vote, you practice your God-given right as a citizen of the United States to go and vote. Make sure you do your research on each candidate. Make sure that you educate yourself on the issues, and make sure you make the right choices because your vote does count. And remember, music always heals all. We'll see you next time.
Yo, yeah. I wasn't open that mouth. Sure that she's talking and open that mouth. If it say something, we going it out. And then there's something it out. And then it's got and it's part of it, something we got it. Something that's what we got it. And then we done it, we go loud. And then say something, we open it out.
The Xander Effect is powered by 50/50 Global Music Inc., Sony Music The Orchard, and BMG Bertelsmann. In association with Art 19 Media.